are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
All right, welcome back to the Code RAD show. We are recording today, January 16th, 2025. Sadly, David Lynch passed from this world today. Huge influence on my life. Some of my favorite movies. Twin Peaks was just a huge influence on me. Was a teenager when it came out, and as you know, things hit differently when you're a teenager, and Twin Peaks really blew my mind. So have a piece of cherry pie up in heaven, Mr. Lynch. All right. Hello, Jim. Welcome back.
Jason. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you. How are things with you?
Yeah, life is good. January is probably my least favorite month, except for February. Yeah. And February, at least, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it's just way too cold. Way too cold and too windy, and just the wind is makes it worse.
Yeah. So the lousy weather, the you can sort of feel the day is getting longer at this point a little bit.
Yeah.
And it'll be better in February. You'll be able to feel the extra daylight a little bit better. And so, but yeah, it's dark, cold, miserable.
Yeah. Not fun.
Christmas is over. Holidays are over. So
yeah. No more fun.
yeah. It's just hunker down and just try to survive for the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Today we're going to discuss the mind robbers, but I thought, I'm pretty sure I came up with this idea of maybe discussing 1 or 2 current events before we get into the topic of the episode. I think I came up with that idea before David Lynch died. So of course, I mean, I would have to mention that at some point. I'm glad that we were recording today so I could mention that. But also, I just thought maybe it would be interesting to talk about something that's interesting us in the news or whatever.
Sure.
So, let me see. I thought we could maybe mention the Neil Gaiman saga. And so, why am I showing this? This is like a screen capture from Amazon. This is Tanith Lee. I've never read any of her books. Her name is familiar from when I was younger, reading science fiction, and these DAW covers are just fantastic. I should have made a bigger version of that. I mean, DAW, those painted sci-fi covers, they all had the yellow spine. Super cool. I mean, like they did a version of Elric, which I never understood why more than one publisher turned out Elric of Melniboné, but the reason why I'm showing this is because of the Neil Gaiman scandal, where several women are alleging that he sexually abused them. Really gross, brutal stuff. And so in the wake of all this stuff coming out, where we're learning that allegedly this guy is such a total scumbag, on top of everything else, apparently he stole the Sandman. Now, I have not read Knight's Master by Tanith Lee, but apparently his whole Sandman idea is totally stolen from this series of books by Tanith Lee. I forget what the name of the series is, but this is the first book, Knight's Master, and it's about the main character is extremely similar to Sandman, to the point where if someone puts a picture of the main character from this series, it's a strange thing. It's like Azorn, something like that, is the name of her character. And what is the Sandman? Is that Morpheus?
Yes, the
Okay,
Master of Dreams.
right. So apparently, there's a lot of similarities, and beyond the main character, all the other characters in Sandman, according to what I've heard, are very similar to this series. So I found that interesting. So on
Yeah,
top of being a total phony, a complete virtue signaler, he also stole one of his most famous ideas. And also, I find this interesting. If you look over here, book is apparently out of print. To buy it used, $290. I
yikes.
don't know if that's because of the scandal or if it's just a rare book.
Yeah,
I
maybe
don't know.
a mix of the two. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know much about Tanith Lee, but you know that it is available on Kindle for a reasonable price. I am curious to read this, and yeah, for a major science fiction author that I've never read anything by. Uh, yeah, maybe I'll check out this Kindle book by her and see. Uh,
Yeah,
I've only read one issue of Sandman, and so I don't know too much about it. It's so much a part of the pop culture that I know a
yeah,
little bit about Sandman. It's such a big popular thing for so long, but yeah, very interesting that if he did plagiarize and never gave any credit whatsoever, which had he said, you know, I was inspired by these books, it would have been fine. And it
yeah,
would have
right.
helped out that author quite a bit. She's deceased now, but it would have been a huge help for her because I heard, you know, she struggled later on in life. A pretty typical thing for writers, science
Yeah,
fiction writers, especially. You know,
yeah,
someone Philip K. Dick comes to mind. He really struggled financially. And so yeah, so that is not as bad as the other allegations, but I think you know we're dealing with a sort of sociopathic type here. If it is true that he stole this all these ideas as well as the other crimes he's accused of committing. All right, so don't want to start off on a downer. I mean, well, too late, already did, and not the
yeah.
greatest news of David Lynch dying and Neil Gaiman's alleged crimes. But let's get into something happier. A classic episode of Doctor Who, The Mind Robbers. Would you like to get us started with that?
Absolutely, sure. Let's see.
You want
So,
to get started with your slideshow?
apps indeed. So, let's see. Let's go
Cool.
here, and we are the DVD case, what it looks like the artwork for the Mind
Yep.
Robber.
Mhm.
So let's see. So I think, like many people watching, you probably saw a lot of Doctor Who on NJN. Probably, I figure.
Oh, for sure. Every Saturday night.
Yeah, and I was like, when I first got into Doctor Who, I remember hearing that it's like, oh, the second Doctor, there's only 5 episodes of him. Like, what? Like,
Mm,
what are you talking about? It turns out I would find out later that unfortunately many of his stories were destroyed by the BBC.
yeah.
Um, and some of them we were able to get back, like this one right here. But a lot of them, I think he did 21 stories, and they only have 7 in their
Yeah.
entirety.
Yeah.
So, but actually, this is a real treat for me because this, to date, is my favorite Doctor Who episode of all time. This is really
Oh, wow.
episode. Just yeah, it's a great episode. But not only is it my favorite, it is also the favorite of Patrick Troughton. This is
Okay.
taken from a convention in Concord, New Hampshire, about maybe 85 or so. And they asked him
Wow.
his favorite story, and he said, The Mind Robber. Now, it wasn't really an easy episode for them to do. Let's see here. Yeah, sorry, just bear with me a minute, guys. Um, he at first wasn't happy about it, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But it wasn't only his favorite episode; it was also Winnie Padbury's favorite episode, also.
Huh.
So she really liked it. It was her favorite. So this came in a time where I think where should I start with this story? So the previous story was the Dominators, where he goes to planet Dulcus
Mm.
and he meets the Quarks, which I thought were pretty awful, but they were apparently supposed to take over from the Daleks, but luckily they didn't. They were just, I thought they were stupid.
Now,
Just
does this episode, The Dominators, does that exist today?
It does, yes. They do have
Okay.
it. They have the whole series. So it was going to be 6 episodes originally, but somehow it got cut
Yeah.
down to 5. So the Mind Robber eventually originally was going to be 4 episodes,
Yes.
but they made it. They kind of had reluctantly tack on a 5th episode, and that was episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a very, very limited budget. Lower
So
than a
the
shoestring.
Dominators, what they had to shorten that serial by 1 episode, right?
They
And
did,
so
yeah, they did.
to make up for that, they had to add an episode to Mind Robber, right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
And so so they get 2 of the rarest thing, 5 episode storylines of Doctor Who. There can't be too many other ones aside from Dominators and Mind Robber.
Yeah, it's Dominators. The ones they have complete are the Tomb of the Cybermen, which we covered,
Yes.
Enemy of the World, um, the Dominators, the Mind Robber, the Crotons, Seeds of
Mm.
Death, and finally the War Games. So hopefully they'll find more episodes, but I don't know. It'd be nice if they
Yeah.
did. But
Well,
the thing about film is that it deteriorates pretty rapidly.
yeah.
So let's see. So to save money, the only 3 characters we see are the Doctor, Jamie, and Zoe,
Okay.
and there was no guest artists. So the 3 of them wanted more money because they figured they thought they had a lot more to do in the episode.
Oh,
But
interesting.
that wasn't happening. So
Yeah.
they made the agreement the episodes would be each part of the series, each episode would be 2 minutes shorter.
Mm.
So yeah, so it was just a matter of saving money. Or wait,
Yeah.
no, that's not right. Sorry, it's not right. Hang on, that's better. Okay, so is that what pound coins look like? Are they gold? I haven't seen too many.
I think so. I think in real life they're not usually that shiny.
Okay,
But yeah, if I remember correctly, I believe they are gold. That's
okay.
funny. Yes. I mean, I used them for a while, but I don't really remember too well. They are like thicker than average than most American coins.
I think I have some in this drawer, but yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's pretty buried. But
yeah.
let's see. So yeah, this was a very challenging episode to do for the actors because they used something what's called, I never knew this existed, called a cyclorama. And basically what that is,
Oh huh.
it's a painting or a curtain that kind of creates the illusion of space or distance or the sky. So this basically they used something like this, but it was all white.
Oh right, yeah, to represent the void.
Exactly. Yes. Like basically, they're basically in the middle of nowhere. Like, basically, they just figured, well,
Yeah.
we have no money, so let's make a story about nothing, about
Yeah.
nowhere. So yeah, so
Oh, okay.
that's what we'll do. The problem was with everything that was all white, the actors couldn't see their marks. So that was a little bit of a problem, and I had no idea what an actor's mark looked like. Apparently, it's like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. And remember the robots we saw, the white robots from
Loved them. Yeah, I think to me that's a sign you're in for a good time when there's like evil robots
yes,
in
yes,
the show.
indeed. Well,
Loved it.
this show I didn't know about at all. Out of the Unknown.
Mm.
It was actually a British sci-fi anthology series, which I don't think ever was released here. I don't think, but maybe one
Okay.
of our listeners or watchers or viewers can
Yeah.
confirm that. But well, since money was tight, they had to kind of do some shopping around. Look familiar?
Mm.
So yeah, so it's the basically took the robots and painted them white.
Painted them white, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right,
So
yeah, they do look pretty cool here.
they do, yeah. I like them. I like them.
Yeah.
So they have white backdrop and white robots and a lot of smoke.
Hmm.
Let's see here. I thought it was very clever, especially for the first episode. They used a lot of like tight shots, like a lot of like up close shots, and
Right.
that was kind of done to kind of create the feeling of tension because they feel like they're trapped. They're all getting very
Mm.
afraid, and they're just trying to figure out where the hell are we.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. So this era of Doctor Who was a period where they wanted to bring in new writers.
Okay.
And one of those new writers was Peter Ling,
Yeah.
who worked on a show with this guy. This is Derek Sherwin. He was a story editor for Doctor Who at the time, and they met
Okay.
by a series called Crossroads. And this guy here, Peter Ling, was kind of scared because he never had written science fiction before. So he was just very worried. And this guy, Derek Sherwin, said, don't think about sci-fi. Just think about creating a good story. Think about the Doctor. Think about um, children's imagination. So I think we
Okay.
see a lot of that in here. Um, but yeah, this is a very trippy, very 60s episode. It's very trippy, very almost hallucinogenic to a point. And
Sure.
I think it just goes to show you that you can dump all the money you want into a project, but if there's no creativity, if there's no story, if there's no emotional investment, if there's no tension, then you don't really have anything. It's just this bloated mess. I think that's what Disney. I think it's the problem that Disney and Warner Brothers right now are suffering from. So many Disney movies last year and this year have bombed with huge budgets, but people are just like, no one really cares.
Right, and especially when you contrast it with Godzilla
Yes.
-1,
Yep.
which, comparatively speaking, the budget for that, it's just like, that would not even cover the catering on an Avengers movie.
Right.
And
Exactly.
the special effects were amazing. The story that, it was well paced. There was original ideas in it. It looked amazing. So yeah, you can't replace creativity and vision with tons of money.
No, not at all. And I think we can learn something here is that they had very little, low in money, but they made up for it in a lot of imagination and good storytelling. And
Yeah.
the one episode, I'm not sure I like this episode. It's my favorite, but the one part I didn't like was the carcass wrestling Zoe. I thought that was kind of and Wendy Padbury, who played Zoe, said she thought it looked pretty bad.
Mm.
And I have to agree, but apparently that was put in here by this guy, um, Peter Ling. He thought that kids would kind of want to. And again, this all comes back to Doctor Who being a kid show, and it just never seemed that way to me. It always seemed
Mm.
more sophisticated than that. But he figured that kids would want to see another young person literally throw
Oh
an
yeah.
adult around. So he thought that was something that kids would want to see, and maybe they loved it. I don't know, but I just thought it was a very bad, not a very good scene. It just looked really amateur, I thought.
Oh yeah. Well, I happened to notice the ends credits of the episode. Uh, gave a credit to the fight coordinator or whatever, and I remember seeing that and thinking, yeah, I'm not sure I would want to take credit for that.
I guess because of luck, like I think maybe the BBC has got thing like very serious constraints about violence,
Mm.
but because whenever you see like a fight in Doctor Who or like it doesn't look very good, but when you see a fight in Star Trek, it looks real.
Mm.
But like if you see Kirk in a fist fight with somebody, it looks pretty good, and there's like blood and there's black eyes, but like when he beats Finnegan from Shore Leave, that Irish guy, he's like, "Come and fight me, Jimmy. Come and fight me."
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That was a great episode, and it looked so real. And you see Kurt,
Yeah, yeah.
his
Oh,
his
yeah.
uniform's torn, and he's got bleeding, and his lip is bleeding. But yeah, that was just between the carcass and Zoe. That was just I thought that was just
Mhm.
awful. But
Yeah.
it still didn't stop me from enjoying the episode, and I still enjoy it
Mhm.
now. And it was very fun to watch it again the first time in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, is that your last slide?
It this is, but I guess I can close it up.
Okay, yeah.
Let's see.
Um
Group from stage.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, I enjoyed the episode a lot. A little bit contrarian because almost everything I read about this episode is very positive. This is a lot of people's favorite episode,
Yeah, yeah.
and but I won't go that far. I found it very interesting that we're picking episodes not quite at random, but we're not specifically going for any kind of theme or anything, and yet this is at least the third Doctor Who episode we've done that has agnostic themes, where
Right.
the Doctor ends up in a world that is controlled by, some kind of overlord. I mean, our first one was Carnival of Monsters,
Right.
and then the Deadly Assassin, which even has something literally called the Matrix. And
Yes.
this is totally the same idea. They land in a world that is constructed by a computer and controlled by a computer with a cable coming out of a writer's skull. So it's interesting that Doctor Who goes into that territory so often. And it is a topic that I really enjoy. So I thought that was very cool. Starting off with the TARDIS in the path of a lava flow,
Yes.
you can't get much more exciting than that. I mean, especially since that's the beginning of the episode. I guess that's a continuation of the Dominators, which I don't recall. It's been a long time since I've seen that. And then your only chance to escape is to slip out of reality, go into another dimension.
Yep.
That's great. I mean, this is just
Yeah.
edge of your seat, fun, popcorn style entertainment. Loved it. When they started seeing their home planets on the monitor, that felt a little, not that interesting. I feel like that is a plot device we've seen before, and it wasn't terribly interesting. It's like, okay, you see your home planet on the monitor. It's not that interesting, and it's fake. It's not really their home planet. So
Right.
that was not one of my favorite parts. But then that's followed up by the TARDIS exploding, which is such an iconic image. That was
Yes.
awesome. I thought it was well done. They didn't do it just blowing up. They didn't blow up like an explosion, but the
Right.
way it was pulled apart, I thought was very striking. A cool cliffhanger. And so then we continue on from there. And they start meeting these odd characters in this forest, I guess it was supposed to be.
Yes. Well, I
You,
think it's more of like, well, I think they thought it was. I think apparently
oh, okay.
Jamie gets on top of one of the,
Yes, yes, yes.
and it's like, do you know what I'm standing on? Like, no, it's a letter S. Oh yeah, I thought also was very clever was, uh, Fraser Hines unfortunately got the chicken pox. So they basically told him, don't come to work, so they got another guy, Hamish Wilson, to fill in for him. But I thought how they did was very clever.
Of course, yeah, yeah. I'm glad you remembered to bring that up. That's got to be one of the most interesting things about the episode. The actor they got to play Jamie was funny. Did a pretty good job of emulating Fraser Hines.
Yeah, and he acted
And
Scottish.
yeah, yeah, and it was done in such a way that fit thematically so perfectly. I had no idea that was, a change out of necessity because Fraser Hines was sick.
Right?
I
Yeah.
just thought part of the original script. So, yeah, props to them for coming up with a solution to a problem like that, so that it does not even seem, it didn't even seem like, the actor was laid up. So that was definitely one of the coolest things having Jamie change his face for an episode. I like the story a lot. My one issue is that I don't think you needed that many fictional characters. After a while, it just kind of becomes a parade of, it's Medusa, and then you've got a unicorn, and I don't feel like you needed that many characters. It could have been made a little briefer. They could have consolidated a bit of it. I mean, Medusa was super cool. That was pretty creepy. Yeah. Zoe is like closing her eyes, and Medusa's hand is just coming from off screen, just like coming off screen, about to touch her. Yeah, and so I don't know if I had anything else I really was really dying to talk about. Some really strong moments. Interesting that the episodes were short. I kind of suspected it while I was watching it. I had it confirmed. So I was also very confused. I was like, how are they going to wrap this plot up in the next 10 minutes? Then it's like to be continued, episode 5. Like, episode 5? Since when is Doctor Who have 5 episodes? That was unexpected. So I felt it was a little bit long, and that was a surprise that there was a 5th episode, although it went the fact that each episode was a bit shorter kind of speed things up a bit.
I have one question that maybe you might know the answer to. So I knew all the characters, and I guess that reminds me. So did you recognize the actor that played Gulliver?
No.
He's one of the Time Lords also, and Deadly Assassin, and he was in.
Oh, that was Horsefall.
Yes, it's not. I learned from my friend James. It's not Bernard. We say Bernard. It's Bernard apparently. So it's like, okay,
sure, yeah,
Bernard. But
yeah,
Bernard Horsefall apparently. Yeah, he shows up later, and I think Ed mentioned something about this saying in England. There's like 50 or so, like 50 actors in Britain, because when you see one actor in Doctor Who, then you see them in Coronation Street or EastEnders or
I'm sure, yeah,
Emmerdale or whatever the show is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was going to ask you though. So I knew everybody, but who are those kids? Were they anybody that we should know?
Huh.
Do you remember
now that you mention it, I do remember those kids, and yeah, you would think that they would be from a kid's story, but I didn't pay them much mind while I was watching the episode, and I really don't remember anyone mentioning them in
no, they were just
anything
there.
I've read, like say like the Wikipedia entry for the Mind Robbers. If they mention the kids, it's only in passing. That's a good question. We'll have to if anyone at home knows what the deal is with those kids, let us know, because I don't think anyone really comments on that either. That's a good question.
There was a comic strip in Britain called the Bash Street Kids, but I don't think it's them. They're more modern.
Yeah.
I think these kids would look like they were from the Victorian age or something. So just but yeah, I wish I could say where they're from, but I have no idea.
No, and you've really piqued my curiosity. We'll look into that.
They just need kids. Like, get us some kids. Like, all right, like, we need some kids in here.
Yeah. All right. So that is The Mind Robber, and
yes,
a very strong episode. A good reminder that they Doctor Who did not start with Pertwee or Tom Baker. There's some good writing, some good episodes in those early seasons.
And there's a lot that we haven't seen yet, and hopefully one day we will. Just wishing it's hard enough. Just like we'll see, they'll find more episodes out there. If it's Australia or wherever.
Yeah, I've got to think that most of the episodes that are going to turn up already have, but you never know. We'll see if.
There's rumors that private collectors out there just kind of just like mine, just
Sure,
mine.
Sure.
But,
too bad they didn't have VCRs in England back in the 60s.
No, it would have been great. Not until I think the 70s or late 70s. But yeah, it's a shame. They would have otherwise would be okay. But yeah,
And
no VCRs back then. Nope.
do all of John Pertwee's episodes survive?
They did.
Okay, I thought so.
The
So
tricky
yeah,
thing
just
with
poor Patrick Troughton. He really got hit hard.
he did, yeah, he really did. It's just all a matter of
BBC must have been going crazy, recording over those videotapes during the Troughton era.
yeah. It's like, well, thanks. Now I can't see my work anymore. It's just like everything's just
Yeah.
gone. But oh yeah, with in the case of Pertwee, they do have all the footage. The tricky thing was, and I didn't know this, between the years of 1970 and 1974, a lot of countries still didn't have color TV.
Mm,
So what they would do is they would make a black and white copy for countries like I think like the Middle East,
okay.
Italy, or Brazil. Like, yeah, a lot of countries still didn't have color TV in the 70s. So I was
Yeah.
surprised, but
Huh.
they were able to find the black and white copies and then they colorized them. So now they have all the footage. So that's good. So
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, when colorization first started, I think it was Ted Turner,
yes,
PBS. It was pretty much universally hated.
it looked
And
awful, but now they have this.
I think it seems like the technology has improved, and
How much? Yeah.
and since it's been like 30 years or whatever, resistance kind of fades, and that. I mean, I haven't watched a colorized episode of Doctor Who, but I've seen some stills that look fantastic. I think we had some stills from the Aztecs that looked very good. Looked
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it could have been a color photograph taken on the set, although I think it was actually colorized. Looks pretty good. So,
It did.
and
It did.
as I get older, I'm not so much of a stickler. In my younger days, I would have been like, you've got to preserve the integrity of the original vision. Now I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe it would look cool to see it in color. I don't know.
It is. Yeah, it is.
So, all right. So that is The Mind Robber. We'll be back
right.
soon with another Doctor Who. Maybe if you're lucky, some comic books, or we got all kinds of ideas for Code Rad. Just not
Yeah.
enough hours in a day to create them all. But we'll be back soon. Thank you for
Yes,
watching.
indeed. Take care, everybody. Take care, man. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
I'll see you. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.